Today we will talk about XRP, XLM, and how they are both involved in exchange traded products and ETFs, just like Bitcoin are right now, and how that could contribute to XRP really being able to take off and have a value that actually reflects its real world application. And here is a good introduction to the entire topic here.
So you know that you've got this switch right here, that all you have to do is, I'm going to flip that switch up, no more BTFP come March 12th of 2024, and you know that your inflation problem is gone.
But replaced by what? Replaced by a banking crisis, which means what? Which surely means a recession, surely has broader ramifications.
And surely means a...
Well, no, inflation.
CBDC.
Well, yes, well...
And surely means a CBDC.
So
there's that incentive layer on.
When we were talking in March, I had several guests on the show that actually predicted or forecast or made us aware, like you do, of the possibility of a consolidation of the banking sector, which allows for a CBDC. Fewer banks there are, the closer you are to the Fed, the easier it is to implement a CBDC.
Even if it's not the Fed's balance sheet. Let's just assume that all the banks got absorbed by JP Morgan. So you've got the Fed and JP Morgan. Well, let's remember who owns the Fed. That would be JP Morgan, that would be the banks. Yeah. So if there's only one bank, then they own the Fed, right?
The banks own the Fed?
Absolutely. Yeah, the Fed technically is a private corporation,
right?
And they have shareholders.
Yeah.
And the shareholders are the banks that are within their network, in their system, right? So if there's only one bank left standing, then by definition, they own the Fed. Right. Okay. So basically you have that gauze bank type of scenario that we talked about earlier, which was the one bank in communist Russia that could not go bust. So whether that one ledger is on the Fed's balance sheet or JP Morgan's, it still doesn't matter for the average Joe and Jane. The net result is the exact same.
That right there had a lot of information, and I won't explain all of it here, but there are some really interesting connections to what is happening with the Federal Reserve changing a lot of things that directly impact banks and financial institutions right now that I will touch on a little bit in a pretty conspiratorial way. But that right there just explains how everything is actually working right now, and with how these very large financial institutions are trying to get ahead of what is actually to come. But I want to talk about how XRP might be able to experience a massive run-up in price that can be kicked off or can be accelerated with ETFs. So as of today, March 11th, 2024, we have new net inflows at 1.5 million within a year to date of 9 million in 2024. Only ETH had outflows of 2.1. So as we can see here, we do have institutional cash coming in to XRP right now. And this also applies to things like XLM, which I talk about a lot, but XRP and XLM are very interconnected, and where one is headed, I think that the other can head that way too. So there is an event unfolding with XLM. Grayscale's GXLM, which is an XLM ETF, has almost doubled in share price since the end of February, which is not even 2 weeks ago at this point. Toraban on the Can't Say ST's XLM network might be much larger than most people are prepared for. And here's where the whole XRP buyback idea might be applied in a much more realistic way, especially in light of what has happened with the Bitcoin ETFs. You asked for an XRP buyback. I give you the ETF premium in-kind redemption. It will be trading at $250 per share for one underlying XRP by the end of 2025. And that is in response to his original tweet. Now you might get the importance of the in-kind model of an ETF. Once we have that, you will be able to deposit the actual crypto asset into the ETF itself. The funds redeem your deposits with a share in the ETF, which means if you hold a crypto worth $2 and the fund premium is 200, that means you just arbitraged a 100x. But currently we are only cash creates on the ETFs, which means that we can only deposit fiat in there, and there's not that multiplication effect by depositing the underlying asset itself. Trust that it will change. They want your crypto that badly. And to have an example of that with Bitcoin, 1 billion daily net inflow into all of our ETFs. If you use the bull market multiplier of 100x, which is $100 of market cap increase compared to $1 of new net inflow, you would be getting a 100 billion market cap increase per day. Now, just imagine I told you that's what's going to happen with XRP. The power of the ETF is the single greatest wealth generator that crypto will ever have. You don't need astronomical numbers in the actual asset. You only need a derivative fund with shares outperforming the supply. If there is heavy demand from buyers, the price of an ETF can increase above its NAV, which would mean that it is at a premium. Conversely, if there's heavy sell side pressure, the price can dip below NAV. And as far as XRP goes, the door has opened and traditional finance has just seen the most successful ETF launch in history. Just like when a new movie hits blockbuster status, what happens? They want even more. And that is in response to Ripple now hiring a senior manager in charge of XRP ETF initiatives. Investment funds are coming for XRP. When that switch flips, they will pour billions to acquire it as fast as possible. And that is particularly with Grayscale, who has an XLM ETF right now that has been performing extremely well. And I have a couple of other examples of how it's not just XRP and XLM. Here is one that is around Filecoin, and it says that something is happening that they aren't showing us. The Grayscale Filecoin ETF has increased up to $350. One share is just 0.928 Filecoin, which right now is $10.60, which means institutions are paying $350 for one coin, which is a $340 premium. And here is another example from Grayscale about Solana. Each share in that ETF is at 540 right now and is worth 0.3776 Solana at this point in time. You need to buy 3 ETF shares to represent just over one SOL, which equates to $1,620, a $1,475 premium right now. And here is an example of that, where it is trading at an 873% premium, which means that at the current price, institutions pay $1,412 per SOL. If your only argument is market cap against extremely high prices, you might not be prepared for what can actually happen here. Here's another example on Chainlink at $169 per share at 0.92 link per share, which would equate to a $148 premium on each Chainlink. And guess what the institutional premium will be for XRP? So now that we've got a lot of examples that it's not only XRP, What is a premium for institutions? When the fund is higher than the price of the underlying asset, they are paying a premium. So now we come back to XLM. We've got 87.68 XLM equals $12.27, which is the amount of XLM in one share in that ETF, which means that one share is just under $50, which means that institutions are paying 5 times more per XLM than what XLM is worth right now if you were to go out on an exchange. But why would anyone pay that high of a premium? The only reason institutional money is usually willing to pay such an extreme premium is because they know the price of the underlying asset is either worth that price or higher. All of these premiums are indicators that they know what is happening. And on this particular topic with XRP itself, I have began to explain this and some hypothetical potential outcomes in this video here. I put out probably a bit over a month ago now, if you are interested in that.